Today we discuss Sony State of Play and Wolverine's face is a what? All this and more. This is Nerds with Mics. Hello and welcome everyone to episode 150 of Nerds with Mics. I'm Travis.
I'm Justin.
And big 150 today. We turn 150. And Justin did the numbers and averaged that out over the course of 6 years. And it averaged out to be 18 episodes a year. strong, son. But yeah, episode 150, which is cool to see. Today we have some topics of it'll be interesting to say the least. We're going to talk about Sony's event. Their what do they even call their event at this point? It's their State of Play
today.
Yeah, going to talk about State of Play, some drama that unfolded during that that has to do with Neil Druckmann. And I'm going to talk about what is there still left to look forward to for Xbox or their showcase coming up June 9th. We're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about some of the things we're excited for coming up. And then we'll close out with the picks of the week. But before we get into that, as always, we always like to start by talking about what we have been up to. It's been a while, Justin. What have you been up to?
So I'm actually going to start with something I didn't put on my notes here. So not spoilers, but twist for you because you can see my notes. You mentioned Xbox, and that made me think. I played a little bit of Hellblade 2 the other day. It's on Game Pass. It was Xbox's big title right now because it's been delayed for years. The first game was an award winner. It kind of released to mixed reviews, but here's what I can say, and this is as someone who did not play the first one. I didn't play the first one, probably won't, but I thought, I'll try this game out. So I booted it up on my gaming PC, so I am playing on PC. I'm running a 3080 graphics card, so results may vary, but what I can say is this was one of the most graphically impressive games I've ever played. And on top of that, the audio was extremely impressive. Hearing the voices inside of your head kind of arguing with one another was really cool. I would give the audio and video aspect of the game like a 9.5 out of 10. I would give the gameplay like 6, and that's being generous. The first 40 minutes it felt like was just a walking simulator, and then when I did experience combat, it was just very low stakes,
staged, right? Yeah,
it felt staged. It's like, oh, press a button to, and yeah, there was like a light attack, heavy attack, things like that. It just did not
reminds me of that. Sorry, not to cut you off, but
you cut me off.
You remember that game that came out for Xbox One? It was like that Rome, Rise of whatever.
Rise, Son of Rome, I think.
It kind of reminds me of that in the regard where it's like the combat looks great, but you're not interacting a whole lot.
Yeah, it almost kind of felt like, and I'm probably going to get some hate for this, it almost felt like if Naughty Dog made a walking simulator that was just slightly stiffer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it was
it
was fine. I don't think that this is the big game that Xbox should have been hyping up for the last year or so. I mean, it's not even a full price title. I think it's $50. If you have Game Pass, it's that. But I mean, it was fine. It's definitely not a system seller, but I don't know if that's what Xbox is even trying to do at this point. So,
yeah, well, I know that Phil Spencer was quick to let them know that, hey, we've already greenlit their next game, trying to make you feel like, don't worry, they're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? But
yeah, not going to close them up.
Who knows who knows at this point, honestly.
Yeah. On top of that, I've been playing a ton of Siege still. Multiverse is relaunched this week. I've been playing a little bit of that. That's the Warner Brothers free-to-play fighting game. It's a lot of fun. It's also pretty accessible. I'm not a fighting game guy. I'm not very good at them. But that one was pretty easy to jump into. Siege, like I said, I've been grinding that out. The new season starts in like a week. Ubisoft was booed when they announced a new monthly subscription for the game. Like, it's extra. It's not mandatory, but like, come on, man. This game's like 12 years old. But on like the audio video front, I've been watching a show on Netflix called Tires. It's brought to you by comedian Shane Gillis, who has a little bit of controversy attached to him. If you recall, he's the guy who got hired by SNL and then promptly fired by SNL for making some remarks on a podcast. So I don't know where you stand with Shane Gillis. At the end of the day, the show's funny. I liked it. Sorry. I mean, I kind of feel like he's moved past that. I mean, he even hosted
Yeah.
SNL this year. Um, but it was a good show. It was funny. There's some jokes that, may make you flinch, but overall, it was pretty good. Also, Rough House Pictures, that's Danny McBride's company. They're the ones that distributed it. So pretty fun. 6 episodes, a pretty easy watch. Surprisingly funny. And my wife liked it, which I thought was strange because she usually doesn't care for shows
Yeah,
that
she hates everything.
she doesn't, but she's not a big, like, kind of raunchy guy show kind of person. And this is definitely like
Yeah.
a raunchy guy show. And then the most recent one is did you ever watch the show New Girl?
I watched like the first couple seasons, but I never finished it. I know, but no, I
No.
didn't finish it.
So one of the guys on New Girl has a podcast called We're Here to Help.
Okay.
And
I was
it's
wondering what that was about. I saw that in the notes and I was wondering what it was about.
yeah, so it's the guy who plays Nick Miller. He also plays Peter B. Parker in
Oh, I love
Spider-Verse.
him.
Yes. But basically it's an advice podcast. And just one day I saw where one of the other guys from New Girl was going to be on. I thought, I've never listened to the show. I'll throw it on. I've got some things to do today. And I was cackling the whole time. Like, so for instance, the caller calls in, and this is just an example of one episode. Basically, he's trying to ask them, how do I find out if my twin brother is circumcised or not? So they're running through ways for him to like do this. And then the guy who plays Schmidt on New Girl, Max Greenfield, they have him do a little bit of role play with him where he's the brother and the caller is
And this is a
himself.
real guest, like a real caller and everything.
Yes. They actually take real calls and they usually change their name and location. But I was cackling. I've gone back. I've listened to like a dozen episodes since. I listened
It
to one
sounds
today.
similar to the local podcast from where we're from. My brother,
My brother and me.
Because they do the Vice podcast, but it's the Yahoo message boards. So it sounds like
They
a
go
more
on like
modern
Yahoo
version of
Answers, I
that.
think, right?
Or
Yeah.
Yahoo Answers. So it sounds like a more modern version of that, and you actually get to hear the person, which is cool.
Yeah. I guess people write in like, "Hey, I need help doing this," and then they do that, and then people actually follow up with the outcome of the advice. So usually, like the last 20 minutes of the episode is people following up with what they did. So super funny. It's a very quick hour usually, and it's just it's a good way to kill some time if you're doing some like chores around the house or going for a walk or a drive or whatever. It's been my go-to for the last week or so.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. What else you got?
What do you got?
I don't think you talked about tires.
I did. That's the Shane
Oh,
Gillis
did you?
show. Yeah.
Oh, no. Well, you were getting your oil changed today. I don't know why I thought you were also getting your tires done today.
Yeah, I
My
went and
bad.
got my car tuned up and it took 3 hours.
It took way too long. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Although I
for
will
me,
say I was nervous about going after watching tires. I was like, "Oh god, is this really how they're gonna is
I
this how
actually
they
like
get you?"
Shane Gillis. I feel like, I
Oh,
mean, I
he's
know
funny.
it's controversial, but
He has some
comedy is
content that
also
I'm like,
something that's very subjective
yeah.
because just depending on, you know what I mean? So I think it's going to be different for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, I don't think I truly don't think a comedian this might be a hot take. I truly don't think a comedian's ever been canceled except for Michael Richards, and he actually went on a racist rant. He wasn't doing a bit. He like went off on somebody.
Oh, is that the guy from Seinfeld?
Cosmo Kramer, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I kind of think that comedy is meant to make you uncomfortable. And my favorite comics are the ones that make me uncomfortable. Anthony Jeselnik, oof, he is brutal, but like he's my favorite one or one of my favorites. So I mean, I don't know. There's obviously a line somewhere, and I think it's different for everybody. But like Dave Chappelle, even he's said some stuff that I don't agree with, but like he's not canceled. The dude still sells out tours and shows, and he hosts SNL, and he shows up for this. He does that. I mean, if he was canceled, he wouldn't be doing any of that. So, I mean, Shane Gillis isn't canceled. He just lost a job that he barely even had.
Right.
And also the
Yeah,
guy
no.
that the Asian cast member they hired is phenomenal. So I would have loved to have seen them together.
Yeah, I know when he came back and hosted after obviously them letting him go, that was a pretty big episode. And the thing was is like he had said like when they called, he was like, hell yeah, because I mean he didn't really have like I mean he was kind of sour about it, but like honestly, what's happened has happened. And honestly, I think his career probably went to better places because of what happened, to be honest with you. So
Have you seen that bit that he has on his YouTube channel where because he did that Gillian Keeves YouTube channel, right? And
yeah.
he has the one where the plane's crashing and everyone's calling their loved ones. And he's just like, is this Bob from so and so's auto body? He's like, yeah, it's me, Shade. I'm gonna come down there, I'm gonna beat you to death. And he's like, why would you try to make someone's day great? He's like, I want to ruin someone's day. So like he's just like, it's so funny. Then everyone on the plane starts calling people and like, yelling at them. It's like the people that they hate. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hilarious. So for me, I actually have been pretty busy. So I watched. I had been mentioning that I've been watching the show Loot, which I don't think you probably tried yet, but
Not yet.
it's one of Apple TV shows. It actually just wrapped up. I think the season finale for season 2. It's been really good. It's just every episode is hilarious. The ensemble is great. I've also been playing Ghost of Tsushima on my handheld. Man, I really missed that game. Like I didn't play it when it first came out, and that's a great game,
That's
honestly, and
awesome.
it runs pretty solid on my handheld. So I've been playing that typically like before bed or in bed. But what I've really been into Final Fantasy 14. I hit level 90. I finished all the Endwalker content and all the post Endwalker content patches um, leading up to Dawn Trail. So literally, it just says to be continued at the top. So like I'm
Nice.
ready. I've been doing my dailies. I got my gear up to. I only have 2 pieces that aren't 650, which I plan on probably maybe working on that tonight. Um, I don't really need to go to 660 according to my friends because obviously I can run any content that I need to now. And then obviously when I start getting new gear in the expansion, my gear is going to be irrelevant at that point. So I'm working on just like unlocking all the extra raids and dungeons that I don't have. And then I'm going back and doing my specialty quests to get my level 90 gear or my level 90 weapon, like my spectral weapon or whatever it's called. The funny thing is, it's like those Hillbrand adventure quests, which I don't know if you did
Hildebrand.
any of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hildebrand. So I didn't do any throughout the entire game. So I had to actually go back all the
Yeah.
way. And then I'm working on up. I just finished Stormbringer,
Those
Stormblood.
are pretty easy. I think I kind of
Oh,
churned through
they're
those in a couple
easy, but it's
days.
like there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But so I'm just now out of the first game, going into the second game with those, but they're funny. Like they're
They
pretty
are.
hilarious, and they become more absurd like the farther you get in that storyline. It's the most Japanese thing in the game. I feel like it's just so funny, but it also kind of reminds me of some of the stuff you would have seen like in the older Zelda games with like the cutscenes and the characters just being over the top and stuff like that. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then I also got the opportunity to do some treasure hunts with a couple of friends of mine, Alex and Christian. Have you done any of the treasure hunt content?
No.
Yeah, so you get like these maps, and then you have to go to the area where it's at. You dig, you get it. It spawns a random fate. You do that fate, and once you finish it, it has a chance to spawn a portal. Then you go through that portal, and then once you're in there, it's like you're doing these boss fights. I think there's 5 stages, and each one has a modifier. But when you beat it, you get the option to go through 2 doors and you have to choose right, and then you can go further. We got all the way up to door number 4, but they've been playing a ton, and they said I like 4 was the farthest they'd ever made it. So
Dang.
nobody's even seen 5. So, but it was pretty fun. I went from about 200,000 gil because I spent a lot of money on gear because I exceeded where I was in the story, and I couldn't get any farther because of my item level. So I was like,
Mm,
I'm not going to do side quests to get item level. I was like, I had like 1.2 million gil, and I was just like, I'm going to burn through that, get the gear I need so I can continue in the story. So by the time we went into treasures, I was down to like 20,000 gil. I was like broke. That's why I texted you that day and was like, yo, send me that gil. But then we did treasure hunts, and it bumped me all the way back up to 1.5 mil. So you can get some
nice.
money in them. Yeah. And then outside of that, I was like looking for like kind of a linear game to play. And I remember playing the first of I don't know why I started seeing like stuff in about Tomb Raider, like the games and stuff like that. And I had played the first new Tomb Raider game when it first came out, but I never played Rise of the Tomb Raider or Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So I was like, I'm gonna download that and on my handheld and check it out. So I'm thinking I'm gonna start to play through that. Did you play through any of the Tomb Raider games?
I think I've tried just about all of them, but those, I don't know. I just didn't get too far in them.
Do they feel like the Wish version of Uncharted to you? Is that why?
No, that's not it. I feel like
Is it just the story?
when I played the last one, it was more recent and it kind of felt just a little dated.
Oh, by the time you got to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, that makes sense. But outside of that, that's all I've been up to. Looking forward to some stuff I have coming up, but we'll get into that at the
Yeah.
end of the show. Um, so I don't really think I have any hot takes. I was thinking about it, and I was like, I mean, there's some pretty big event that happened today, but we don't really necessarily need to get into
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh yeah.
uh,
I actually
let's talk.
forgot about that.
Honestly, though, I would like to get into IGN's post,
That
like,
was
because
funny.
that's kind of gaming related,
That was
and
funny. You want to pop it up? Are you looking for it?
yeah, why don't you go ahead? So why don't you go ahead and explain it and why I try to get it pulled up
Okay,
here?
first of all, this is a gaming, tech, and pop culture podcast. Yes, we brought up politics before. We're not doing that anymore. But today, pretty big news story happened. I mean, it was kind of one of the biggest. I mean, it's history. Former President Trump was found guilty on 34 counts of something. I don't know what they were, fraud or something about the hush money thing with Stormy Daniels. But IGN decided to tweet about it. Do you have it ready?
I'm trying to pull it up.
And for
Oh,
those of you listening and
Was it
not
Greg
watching,
Miller that
there's
posted
just
it?
IGN's account.
Oh, shoot. Okay, let me pull it up.
Okay, so IGN decided to text about it, or not text, tweet about it, and they did so with a spin that makes it relevant to the content IGN usually covers. Because why on earth would IGN talk about a former president being convicted of 34 felonies? But they found a way to do it. If Travis can't pull it up, we'll just
It,
summarize it.
yeah, it's making me try to sign into Twitter on my computer, and I'm
Oh,
not.
that's lame. Let me
I
see
know.
if I can get it
Oh, hold
from
on.
where I texted you.
Yeah. Well, I'm on IGN's Twitter now, but I'm wondering if I got pulled down because it's not like on the list of recent.
Oh, really? Okay, well,
Oh, this,
let me pull it up here on my phone because I can't get it on my computer either. So basically, IGN tweeted a picture of the video game, which I didn't know this is a
which
real
I
game.
didn't. Yeah, I had no idea it was a real game, to be
Yeah, in
honest with you.
2002, there was Donald Trump's real estate tycoon, and IGN tweeted breaking in all caps. Donald Trump, star of Donald Trump's real estate tycoon 2002, has been found guilty of 34 of 34 felony charges. And honestly, that's just really funny that they felt the need to do that. Also, I didn't know that game existed. I wonder if it's good.
I don't know, but what I thought was funny, and like as soon as you sent me that, I was thinking to myself, like, somebody has been sitting on this for weeks, hoping that it goes the way that it did, so they could share that picture. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure.
Like
So
100%.
the reason you might not be able to find this is they tweet a ton. My God. I'm scrolling through their feed right now, and I've gone down like maybe 30 tweets,
Oh
and I'm
yeah,
still
one
just 2 hours
hour.
away.
Okay, yeah, maybe it is way
Oh
down
my
there.
god. There it is. Found it 3 hours ago. You can't really see it that well, but
It,
I promise
that's
that's the tweet.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I just thought that was really interesting. Like you said that, and I was like, and my first immediate response was like, "Is this real? Like,
I
is
will
this?"
say brilliant tweet, because if I go back, most tweets are getting 150 likes, 120 likes, a few retweets, a few comments, right? I'm talking like less than 20 comments, less than, whatever. This tweet has generated 422 comments, 4.4 thousand retweets, and 22,000 likes.
How long ago was that?
3 hours ago. The tweet right before that got 65,000 impressions. This one has 1.1 million impressions. So it definitely kind of someone reviewed the tweet, said review 34 out of 34. That's funny. And then someone
That's
else said,
wild.
L post, stick with game news. And IGN said, Donald Trump's real estate tycoon is a video game. This is
Oh
funny.
no.
And then, of course, the comments, because it's Twitter, it kind of turned into chaos. So don't.
Yeah.
Twitter's only fun when it's like not crappy, I guess. So,
Yeah.
and it slowly, or
Well.
it quickly became crappy, which it's going
Well.
to when
Yeah.
you talk about a topic
Oh.
like that.
Oh, 100%. I just thought the tweet was golden,
Oh,
honestly,
I did
because
too. Yeah, it was
somebody.
funny.
Yeah, it's just inevitable. Somebody was definitely sitting on that. I was like, God, I hope I get to use this. You know
That's
what I
been in
mean?
the drafts for a while. Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna go back and look up that game though, low key. I want to see what it's about.
Yeah. I wonder if you could even like buy it right anymore.
I don't know. Um, but there is a Steam sale going on right now. It's just randomly. I don't know if you saw. I think it's like the open world crafting survival sale going on right now on Steam. So
I did see that.
you
Yeah.
look, yeah, I think it runs till like June 3rd or something. But are you looking that game up?
I am. I'm trying to see if there's any. Oh, there's a mode where if the 5 city levels are passed, the player then faces business competition with Trump. The object of the challenge is to go into business against Trump for a fixed number of years and then prevail over Trump with a higher profit margin, culminating with the ultimate goal of driving him into bankruptcy. That is the funniest thing.
What a plot! He's like
Based
the
on
enemy. He's like the enemy in the game, but it's named after him.
that's honestly the funniest thing in the world.
Do you think he had a hand in that game, or do you think somebody just did it?
I mean, he had to have had something. But, like, the bankruptcy thing actually kills me because, like, he did. I guess
Yeah,
everyone kinda won that played the game.
that's
This
wild.
came out on,
2002, right?
well, it came out on Windows and the N-Gage. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm looking at the N-Gage right now. That was an ugly handheld console.
Dude,
Also,
I wonder if it's on Steam.
here's a term I haven't heard in a while, brew-enabled mobile phones. Do you remember that term?
Oh, for like homebrew stuff?
No, brew is like the old, like framework, that allowed
Oh,
like it
yeah,
was like
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
operating system, I think, for the
Yeah,
phones
yeah, yeah.
that would,
Yeah.
like, allow you to play certain things and stuff. Man, I remember trying to get, like,
What a
brew
throwback.
simulators on my phones to, like, play some games I couldn't get on mine.
Yeah.
Did I say
Yeah.
simulator? Emulator, I think.
Yeah. I know what you
Yeah,
meant.
like,
Speaking
it's
of
like I
emulator,
had a
have you
couple
put
too
any
many
on
of
your
these.
you put any on your phone?
No, I'm not gonna do that.
No.
I don't play games on my phone,
That's fair.
except Marvel Snap.
Still snapping, huh?
Yeah. Alright, well, that was
Uh
a spicy hot take.
It was a spicy hot take. So speaking of another spicy hot take, let's talk about Sony's state of play. So what do you got for us?
I'm not just going to talk about the state of play. I'm going to talk about their whole week because it has been a doozy for the last couple of days. Today, all of it kind of came to a head today. So I'm actually going to back up a little bit. I'm going to start with the Neil Druckmann stuff. So last week, it came out that Neil Druckmann was quoted saying that Naughty Dog's next game will redefine mainstream perceptions of gaming, which is a very cocky and arrogant thing to say.
Yeah.
Sure, Druckmann can probably back it up. He's made some of the greatest games of all time, made a great TV show out of one of them. So, yeah, it's a bold quote though, right? Over the weekend, Druckmann then said, like, "Hey, I kind of can't let this slide. I didn't say that," and he actually put the entire transcript from the interview on his Twitter account. But at this point, the damage was done. Like every single like media outlet, game related, of course, like the New York Times doesn't care, but like IGN, all the big ones, they've picked up on it. I keep seeing things. Druckmann says this new game's going to change the world. Blah blah blah. Well, today Sony then came out, issued an apology, and removed the interview completely. They basically said, when reviewing it, we found several inaccuracies and statements that were misinterpreted. Blah blah blah. So we're sorry to Neil and the team. The damage is done, but we apologize. I mean, Druckmann he responded a huge response, but none of it said that. So Sony definitely, I think, was probably flexing for the investors, but it kind of came back to bite Neil Druckmann in the butt a little bit, and he was like, "No, I'm not going to let that slide." Another crazy thing happened today. That's not the state of play. And that is through an exploit, somehow with PS5 game streaming, people were able to force Destiny 2's The Final Shape update onto their systems, and they were able to play it for about 5 hours. So if you're
Oh,
if you're interested in this game, just know spoilers are out there. Um,
oh.
I don't know any, and I
5
didn't look
hours
them
is a
up.
pretty good chunk,
I
honestly.
mean, that honestly might be the whole thing. I mean, I don't know.
It could be.
But yes, so it was available to play for 5 hours. I don't believe many people got their hands on it. I believe from what I read, people were streaming it, but I know that there are screenshots and stuff available online, provided Sony hasn't taken them down yet. But I did see one just complete top tier comment on Reddit regarding this. And this was because of an exploit in Sony's backend. And they said, and this is the same company that wanted us to make an account on their site to play Helldivers 2 on our PCs. And I thought that was great, because who honestly has had more exploits and hacks and just overall security malfunctions than Sony? Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy. When you go back to 2000 and what was it, 11, when the entire system went down, not for a day, but for months. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. And then you have like the whole movie leak with Sony with that movie about Kim Jong whoever.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, my God, they cannot stay out of trouble. But they did cap off the day with a win. They did have their state of play today, which I follow the gaming leaks and rumors subreddit pretty religiously. It's my go-to subreddit every day. And Jeff Grubb, who is a well-known tier 2 leaker on that sub, has been saying for days that Sony's doing something at the end of May. Sony's doing something at the end of May. And then yesterday, people were like, Jeff Grubb, I think you're wrong, because May's over in a couple days and nothing's happened. He's like, end of May, I'm sticking to it. And then sure enough, they announced it happened today. So I'm only going to go over some of the highlights. A game called Concord was shown off. They did a really good CGI trailer for it. And at first, I actually hadn't heard of this game. I knew nothing about it. And I actually missed the first couple minutes. So I didn't even get the introduction knowing it was Concord. I actually thought it was Star Wars. And I thought, dang, this looks pretty cool. And like the banter, it looked like a really cool, casual Star Wars universe type game. As it went on, I realized that wasn't the case. It's essentially, it's a whole new world, but it's kind of like a 5v5 hero shooter, kind of like Overwatch, except the gameplay looks good. So, which I like
Is that
Overwatch.
a
I do like
stab?
Overwatch. I know if Terry's listening. I do like Overwatch, but it just looks good. It looks, kind of like a fresh take on the genre. So pretty excited about that. The beta for that is in July. The game releases in August. For PC people, God of War Ragnarok, which was a Game of the Year contender 2 years ago,
Yeah.
is coming to PC in September. Marvel Rivals, which is another Overwatch clone, will be coming to console, which sounds like a no-brainer, but up until this point, it was only announced for PC. It's coming to beta in July for PS5. I assume Xbox will get theirs as well, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Switch got a copy of it as well. Until Dawn, do you remember that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a horror game with the similar gameplay stylings of like the Quantic Dream games. Had an all-star cast with Rami Malek and Hayden Panettiere, and I believe a few other people. But it was a horror game, and with the Quantic Dream games, your decisions matter. People can die, and it alters the shape of the game. Same thing with this. People die, and it can really change the way your game happens. So that will be coming out soon. I actually don't have a release date listed. They may have given one, but I didn't jot it down. I apologize.
You're
Silent Hill
fine.
2 is getting a remake October 8th. And then we also got a new look at Monster Hunter Wilds, which will come out next year. And a new Astrobot game was announced coming out September 6th. So Sony has had a pretty busy week, some good, a lot bad. But I believe it's a good thing that they capped the bad week off with this state of play. And I do think Concord also showed off a video of gameplay as well. So that was actually one thing when I started watching it. Like I said, I started not knowing what they were talking about. I was kind of worried, like, are they just going to show me a CGI trailer for whatever this is? Because that's lame. I'm not a fan of CGI trailers. I don't want them. But then, like, they went to the gameplay trailer, and I was like, oh shoot, that looks pretty good. So I do think that'll be a pretty big hit this year.
Yeah. Are you gonna play Destiny 2? You gonna go back for the final shape?
We have requested a copy,
Okay.
so we may get a copy. I'm caught up. Are you caught up?
I played the Witch Queen. I did not play Last Light or whatever it was called.
Lightfall.
Yeah, Lightfall.
Well, we have it.
Although I wanted to, because the neon like theme and vibe seemed pretty cool. I
Yeah.
also wanted to get on there and get the Mass Effect stuff that they added to the game.
Yeah. We do have it. If you don't, you just hop on and get it. I
Okay.
played it, and it was I have like a love-hate with Destiny, and it's I can't deny that the combat is good. It's an
It's
excellent first-person
satisfying.
shooter. Yeah, it
The
is.
loop is satisfying.
Yeah, it's one of those games where leading up to it, I'm like, God, this game looks great, and I can't wait to play it. And then when I'm actually playing, I'm like, I'm bored. So
I
we'll
just
see.
yeah, I just adding subclasses just didn't. It started to get to the point where it was not enough. Like between that, the lack of variety in enemies, and they didn't add any new races or classes,
Yeah,
just subclasses, just was not over the course of think about how long that game has been out since Destiny 1. You know what I mean?
like 10 years, I think.
Yeah, it's like you've only ever had 3 subclasses. It's always been a group of parties of 3 instead of 4. Like it just they just didn't
And that's a
they were
bummer.
really yeah, and they were really invested in like world building and just like all that type of stuff, but as far as like the mechanics, I don't necessarily feel like they evolved that much, I
Yeah.
guess. So, but yeah, it sounds like Sony has had a hell of a week.
Oh yeah.
I was listening to my friend's podcast, the testing room, and they were talking a couple weeks ago. It seems like Microsoft and Sony are on this constant race to the bottom. It's like when when Microsoft makes a mistake and it's time for Sony to shine, they're just like, hold my beer, Microsoft, and then they just to proceed in slamming their dick in the car door. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like it's just a constant back and forth with them, and then you just have Nintendo over here, just like, what are you guys doing? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so, but I mean, say what you want about Nintendo, but at least you don't have to deal with a lot of the stuff that you see these other two companies dealing with.
Yeah.
The worst you could say about them is they don't turn out games fast enough, and their online system sucks. Outside of that, you really can't say much.
Yeah.
you know. Um, but okay, anything else to add before we get into the Xbox showcase?
No. Take it away.
You did. You
T-Mac.
killed that. You killed that section, son.
Oh, I meant you take it away.
So oh, I'm taken. I'm taken. I'm Liam Neeson. I'm taken. So don't worry about it. Uh, sorry, I'm having too much of a beverage.
Yeah, that was full when you sat down.
Don't worry about it.
I'm nursing mine. I still have quite a bit left.
That's good. I need to find that soda you were talking about, Dr. Pepper coconut. It seems
Put a little
put
rum
rum
in
in
there.
it. I mean, you feel like you're on the islands.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, so I don't really even want to get into Xbox Showcase because honestly, I feel like I've just gotten to the point where like it's hard for me to want to support these two companies at this point in time. They make it very hard to want to support anything they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with obviously coming off the news of Sony's State of Play, which was today, yeah, was
Yeah.
it today? Yeah,
Yeah. 6 o'clock.
yeah. So, so you're getting that fresh, hot. Well, you won't hear it till tomorrow, but
Hot off the press tonight. It'll be up tonight.
yeah, tonight. But one of the things that I felt like we needed to talk about because the Xbox Showcase is coming up on the 9th of June, and just kind of wanted to talk about like what are some things that you want to see from the showcase? What are some things that we think is going to be predicted? I'll kind of go down my list, and you can tell me if there's anything else that like you would like to see. So for me, I would love to have an update on Fable.
Yeah.
We still have yet to get any kind of gameplay reveal, any kind of timeline on when it's coming out.
I think 2025. Isn't that what they said?
Is it? I
I thought
saw
it was.
the cinematic trailer, and I really haven't seen much after that, so I'm not real sure to be honest with you. But yeah, so I would love to see something around gameplay reveal. Maybe even showing like the main character, the protagonist, or something. Right now, the only thing we got is mostly just like we know it's in the Fable universe, based on what they show in the trailer, but that's about it. And also maybe a little bit more detail around like what the story and setting details would be, or when it takes place based on the timeline that we already have. I would assume it's almost going to be like a soft reboot, but I don't know. I would also like to see some information from ID at Xbox, which is the indie studio. I would like to see some indie studios highlighted or showcased. Just with everything that's going on right now at Microsoft and Sony, I would love to see some of the things that some of these independent developers are doing. Um, you know, I honestly think the future of some of the games we're going to end up loving the most, I think, are going to come from a lot of these independent studios.
Mhm.
So I would love to see, how some of these studios are innovating, maybe taking stuff back to the basics, and just like bringing new ideas, right? Uh, you know, I think that's one. I would also like to see some updates on Game Pass, which Game Pass continues to be a great service, but when you have Game Pass, but you still see like to continue to see studios that Microsoft themselves own continue to get eliminated, it makes it hard to want to love that service. At least it does for me. Like I really had to go back and forth whether or not I wanted to subscribe to Game Pass just to play Hellblade, to be honest with you. I really went back and forth. Do I just buy those on Steam once and not have to worry about gameplay, or do I just subscribe for a month, play Hellblade, and then just go back to not playing it or not paying for it?
Yeah.
I would also like to see if there's any partnerships with Game Pass, any new partnerships, third-party developers, publishers, etc. And then also any changes maybe coming to their cloud service as well. So obviously xCloud, I think, is still technically in beta. I don't know if it's ever officially come out of beta, but I would like to see maybe an update on xCloud, how that's working, and or also possible um, new hardware or new software changes coming to Xbox. For those of you that follow and are lovers of technology, you may have noticed that last week, Microsoft unveiled their new Surface products, which are what they refer to as Copilot Plus PCs, which are actually their PCs that are built for AI. So their actual Copilot, which is their AI model. These are PCs that have this stuff deeply integrated into the operating system. I don't know if you looked at anything about it or not, but it's kind of similar to how Apple makes their own chip now. So Microsoft actually partnered with Qualcomm, and they came up with a Snapdragon processor that is powerful, but it's really built for AI. And they have Copilot essentially integrated to everything in the computer. So even if you was to open up Microsoft Paint and you said, okay, I want to create something here, but I need some inspiration. Copilot's built into Paint. You can give it some prompts, and boom, there you go. They also showed a demo of a dad trying to learn how to better understand and play Minecraft. So he's going through Minecraft. He says, hey, Copilot. And there's somebody that comes in, like you hear a voice that comes in. It sounds like you're just chatting to a friend, like on the internet. He
Mhm.
says, hey, I'm really trying to understand Minecraft and play it to help better understand it so I can play it with my kid or teach him how to play it. Can you help me figure out how to craft a sword? And Copilot says, well, it looks like you're standing in front of a crafting table, which is a great start. And it says, can you pull up your inventory? And tells him exactly how to pull it up. He says, in your inventory, it looks like you have X, Y, and Z, but you're missing this. This is where you can get you might want to look in this area. So it's like actually learning. Now, of course, all these things that you're seeing are like scripted and crafted, obviously, for the best presentation possible. So when it actually comes to real world use, we'll just have to see how
Yeah.
it works. But the fact that so it has a feature, the code name for this feature before they officially released it was called Total Recall. But the feature is now called Just Recall. But essentially, every 5 seconds, it looks to see if there's something new on your screen, and it records and memorizes that, so the AI will actually learn what it is you're doing. Now you can go in and restrict things specifically, like I don't want you to do this when I'm running like Edge or this or that. So you can tell it not to do it for specific programs, but that in itself is how it learns. So if you're playing video games, whatever, like it'll start to grow, which also makes me question, like, what's the gaming landscape look like with AI being introduced? Like, is it really going to come down to the skill of the player, or how well their AI is trained based on what it sees on their computer? So there's just a lot of questions. But this is the first PC where they've essentially made the hardware and software similar to other companies like Apple or Google, which makes the Pixel, which they design the hardware, software, and all that stuff. But with that being said, I know that was a big, long story to come full circle to talk about. It makes me wonder if they're going to how they're going to try to integrate Copilot into these consoles. Is that something that's going to be available on Xbox that makes your life easier, or you can have it assist you in games or whatever? I'm fine with them doing that only if it gives you the option to not have to do it. Like, I don't want to be forced to do anything. I at
Yeah.
least like the option. So I'll be curious to see, based on the announcement with their standalone computer, with that's obviously built for AI. At what point are we going to see something similar but a gaming console? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So, uh, but it's also worth noting that Copilot Pro, which is all the features that we saw, that is a separate feature. That's $20 a month for that. It doesn't come with 365 or anything like that. So, but yeah, so I'm kind of curious to see, if any hardware stuff comes announced or software related. And then the last thing, which I know we're not going to see, but I would love to see, is I would love for them to see like acknowledgement around the drama and stuff that's happened within Microsoft laying off these studios. And I would love to see more transparency from them as a company addressing the things that's happened recently.
Yeah.
And because I feel like, so I don't know how much you followed this, but like after all this stuff has went down with like the Redfall studio and with Tango Games and all this other stuff where they're closing these studios, they've like went back and looked at all these things that Phil Spencer said last year about like, we want to make sure that we're partnering with our partners and like we're giving them the tools and ammunitions to help them be creative. Like Tango Studios like says they want to go make Hi-Fi Rush and all they've ever made is like horror games. Like we say, go be creative. And like they see all this old stuff of saying how they're going to support these studios, but then 1 year later it's like a completely different story. And it's like you have a lot of mistrust in this company at this point. So like I would like to see some kind of acknowledgement around that. Do I think we're going to get that? No, but I would like to see it.
Yeah.
But what about you? I mean, is there anything specifically like I would also like to see? I just thought about this, maybe a big update or overhaul for Starfield. I feel like once that game came out, I don't know if I'd necessarily call it a flop, but I don't think it was nearly as popular as what they were probably anticipating it to be.
Yeah.
I would also like to see possibly, where is this relationship going with Blizzard? Or not. I mean, I guess they own them at this point, but like, what are we? I mean, we've seen Diablo come there. Are they going to come out and say, hey, if you're paying for Game Pass, you now have a World of Warcraft subscription included in that as well?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Or like, hey, WoW's going to come to Xbox with full controller support, and here's what it
Yeah.
looks like.
I can see that come to
Hey,
xCloud too, honestly.
yeah, hey, we're bringing back StarCraft, or I don't know, but I would like to see them start leveraging some of those purchases that they've made. Because I feel like a lot of the reason that we're seeing a lot of these studios closures is that deal that they made with Activision / Blizzard was not cheap.
Nope.
And I'm starting to wonder if like, and I know I said this last time we recorded, but I just have this fear that we're starting to see more Microsoft gaming as opposed to Xbox gaming. And those two things are totally different. When I start to feel that the gaming portion of Microsoft is turning more into like the services and software side of Microsoft, it makes me pause a little bit and be a little concerned. But yeah, what about you for Xbox Showcase? Is there anything specific you'd like to see?
Not necessarily what I'd like to see, but I think we're going to get a lot of Activision Blizzard stuff, like you said. I think Call of Duty is going to be their big flagship game.
Do you care about Call of Duty anymore? Are you
well,
I know
no,
you love
but
Siege and I know you do like some first persons, but I
yeah,
also know that you're not like crazy about like I don't think you play Warzone, right? Like that doesn't
I
interest you.
like Warzone quite a bit, but I don't really play it right at the moment. But I typically am not excited for Call of Duty, but the Black Ops games are some of my favorites. So, and this one takes place during the Gulf War, so it's a little more
Oh, that's different.
modern. Yeah,
And we're
so
not in the future anymore, so that's great.
yeah, the trailer had like Bill Clinton and Saddam Hussein and George H.W. Bush in it. So like it's kind of neat. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
getting more to
It's
our what
historical.
we
Yeah.
experienced. Yeah.
Which
Um,
means we're old at this point.
yeah, because before it was like Kennedy and stuff, and then they had
Yeah.
some 80s stuff at one point. But
Yeah, they had Reagan, I
um,
think, at some point.
yeah, I think the last Black Ops game, if I remember correctly, was probably the last one I actually really liked.
Yeah.
Um, So
I just used to
I
play them for the zombies, and I haven't really went back to them since.
yeah, and they did announce that this Black Ops will be on Game Pass day one, and it will be on PlayStation. So I do think we're gonna get a lot of that, a lot of Call of Duty. I could see some WoW things come through, some big WoW news. I think WoW also has an expansion coming out. I could see them saying like, "Oh, this is coming on PC and Xbox," or on Game
And
Pass.
Xbox. Yeah.
Um, I could see all of that happening. Fable, I would love to see Fable. I kind of don't care about Perfect Dark anymore. I mean, you had a one CGI trailer a few years ago, and you've lost me. Too much time has passed. I just don't care. Um,
Yeah.
and honestly, I forget what else they're working on. I would like to maybe see something. This is going to sound wild when I say it out loud, but maybe something with Fallout 76. Maybe some sort of overhaul. Maybe my dream is for them to somehow implement the shooting mechanics of Starfield, which in my opinion are very good, into Fallout 76, because I think the shooting in Fallout 76 is probably the worst part. It's one of the like combat in that game is just terrible.
Yeah.
So I would like to see something like that, but I can imagine it's going to be probably some ESO content, some Fallout 76 content. Starfield will get their expansion showcased, I'm sure, and then Call of Duty will probably be the big things. And maybe State of Decay 3. I would like to see something with that, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see, my guy.
Wait and see.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to mention, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Hold on a second. I wanted to talk about if I can get it pulled up here because I feel like I want people to see this. So I think I think I may have sent it to you today, but did you see the announcement of the new Wolverine, the new Deadpool bucket, the popcorn bucket?
Yes, not to be outdone by Dune. Um, they have made their own bucket, and it is just as horny.
Yeah, I saw it and I was honestly kind of concerned to be perfectly honest with you. I was a
Concerned.
little bit yeah, I was a little bit concerned, especially like I thought maybe there would be two options at least. But unfortunately there was not two options. Let me see here if I can show this tab. I don't know if it's going to work or not. So hit share screen. Let's go here. Let's hit share. Let's go full screen. Do you see my screen?
I can see it at the bottom. We haven't pulled it in yet.
Pull it in. This is for our viewers
I muted
the
it.
official popcorn bucket. Let me turn down the audio.
I already muted
Um,
it.
okay, perfect. But yes, it's Wolverine with his mouth gaping open, with his tongue hanging out, designed by Deadpool. Then there's a video of it just getting popcorn shot into its mouth while it looks up. And then at the end, there's just this ever sweet drop of butter that just pours down between his eyes. And
We can't show that.
it's just, it's just honestly, it's just honestly filthy, but I love
It
it.
is.
I feel like I feel like Ryan Reynolds saw the Doom bucket and was literally like, "Hold my beer, I got you." But I honestly expected there to be a couple of options because you literally only have the option for Wolverine. But to be fair, it is a Deadpool movie, so I think that just further drives home the point that even though it's Deadpool and Wolverine, at the end of the day, it is a Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
But I wonder how Hugh Jackman feels about that popcorn bucket.
Can't be too happy about it, I'm sure.
No, absolutely cannot be too happy about it. So what are some things that you are so let's go ahead and get into our next topic because I think for as far as our stories, I feel like that's it. But let's talk about what you're looking forward to because I do believe you got some good stuff coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, so I leave for vacation on Saturday. I'm pretty pumped about that. Going down to the beach for a week, and it'll be nice to get away for a little bit. I also, if you've noticed, I keep looking off to the side. Have you noticed?
You watch, yeah, I've noticed you watching a Reds game.
No. my favorite NBA team, the Dallas Mavericks, are in the Western Conference Finals. Right now, if they win tonight, they go to the NBA Finals, and they're currently up 42-21 in the second quarter. Star player Luka
Boy.
Doncic outscored the Timberwolves in the first quarter, just himself. He had 20 points. They had 19. So I keep kind of looking over because I'm like, we got to win this game tonight, boys. But they haven't been to the finals since 2011 when they won it with Dirk. So hoping they can get back there and take on the Celtics next week.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's nice when one of my teams is successful.
Yeah.
The Bengals have been pretty successful, except for last year.
Yeah. I think I asked you what you were looking forward to. You went straight into the game, but I don't think you necessarily talked about what it is you had going on.
I talked about my vacation starting Saturday. That's really it. Vacation and hopefully the NBA Finals.
Yeah. Okay. Well, perfect.
That's just my immediate future.
Not that our listeners or watcher are going to come like stalk you, but like, you want to give us some details about your vacation, like what you're doing?
We're going on the beach.
You don't have to give. Okay.
It's our anniversary too, so we'll have our anniversary while we're down there.
Now, what beach is it so I can show up?
No.
Let me guess.
Tybee Island.
No, it's not.
I know.
Because if you're from West Virginia or around that area,
there's one beach you go to.
Virginia Beach or Myrtle Beach, mostly Myrtle. Yeah. But if you want a little bit less touristy, then you'll go to Virginia Beach.
Well, we're going North Myrtle. It's a lot quieter.
You need to go to like Emerald Isles where you need to go. But to be fair, you have a child, so you have to entertain him.
Yeah.
And Myrtle Beach is definitely the place to do that. But like Oak Island, Emerald Isle, like some of those places, beautiful beach, but not as touristy. But I feel like your kid probably loves the touristy stuff.
He does. I do think that it's gonna sound bad, but I'm kind of getting bored of the beach. So I think maybe next year we might try to do like a Niagara Falls or Grand Canyon or something. I don't know yet.
Yeah. I tell you, if you can bring him down here at some point, I think you and your wife and your son need to come down here for a weekend trip. You stay at my house. You don't have to pay. You just drive down here.
Okay.
There's a lot of things down here I think you'd love. We can go take a tour of the because Coke is here, and you can do the tour of the Coke place.
Nice.
Not that kind of Coke.
That's Ricky's house, right?
Yeah. You could tour the Coke facility, and then literally you walk across the grass.
Yeah.
And it's the Georgia Aquarium. And I don't know if you know this or not, but the
biggest aquarium in the world.
Yeah.
You told me that.
In the Western Hemisphere, at least. But yes. But it's amazing. And we definitely have stuff to do. And we have putt-putt here, just like the beach does. So
you have real golf though?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna get this golf.
And within 20 miles. Yeah. And within 20 miles, we have two top golfs. Well, technically 3 top golfs.
Dang.
But yes,
you also have the Port tap room down there.
Yeah, which I still haven't been to. So give me an excuse.
Love a good tap room, my guy.
Yeah, I love tapping it. Anything else going on? Is that it?
Well, no, I think I'm gonna. This is not what I'm looking forward to, but I think I might get into disc golf.
You should. I love it.
I know you're the one. You're the only person that talks about it. I'm trying to get some friends to get into it because it looks like you can get like starter sets pretty cheap.
Yeah, you could literally go to Dick's. I think it's 20, no more than $30. You get the 3 discs that you need. You get the 25. Putter, the driver. Yeah, you get the driver, the putter, and the fairway disc, or the mid range. And the thing is, when you go play at a course, you don't pay. They're all free. And then you get some activity just like you do with any out. But it's like a hike and you're playing a game. I love it. I love it.
I think I'm gonna get into that.
Plus, I just leave my disc in my car all the time. So if I go somewhere to travel and I'm like, oh, cool, they have a disc golf course here, I'm going to go play. You know what I mean? So it should. I'll tell you what, if you get a set of discs, when I come in to visit next, we'll go play. Because you have a really nice course. If they still have it at Armco Park.
Yep.
That's one of my favorite courses to play back home, honestly. Yep. All right. So for me, this weekend, actually, starting tomorrow, I will be in the mountains until Monday. My girlfriend and I are going to go up to the mountains, relax, chill, take the boat out on the water. It's going to be a great time. And then have family vacation. And then the 9th of June, I'm getting my oldest sister. And by oldest sister, I mean she's 17 because, my parents thought, at 32 years old, we're not getting any grandkids at this point, so let's adopt. So I have much younger siblings. So my 17-year-old sister will be coming down from the 9th. and then I'll have her for a couple weeks, and then I'm going to take her and we're going to go up to Virginia and spend a week up there in good old Williamsburg, Virginia. You want to talk
Love
about a place
Williamsburg.
that's, are you? Oh yeah, because you like history. I thought you were being
Yeah.
facetious there for a
No, I
second.
love it. And
I was
Six
like, this guy's
Flags
not.
or
Yeah, Busch Gardens actually.
Busch Gardens. Yeah, that's a
So
good one.
so we're probably gonna go to Busch Gardens. There's also a really cool place there where you walk back in time. So like there's like you may have been there, but it's like concrete, and as you continue to walk it, it'll tell you, okay, you're back in 19 whatever. This is what was happening. So you're like kind of walking through time. It's really cool.
Nice.
So we do
close
that.
to DC, I believe I think you're close to DC and the beach, right? From there.
I think so. Which I've never been to DC. I want to go.
Dude, you got to go to Smithsonian, man.
Yeah, I really want to go during cherry blossom season. So
when is that?
Which isn't not till March, but but it would be my birthday. So, and then obviously on July 2nd, but if you pre-order it, you get it June 28th. Final Fantasy Dawn Trail comes out. Let me tell you, if you go ahead and pre-order now, you get a little bit of pre-order stuff, but you also get a trinket, an earring you can wear that gives you a 30% boost leveling your character. So I'm going to be doing
good
that
if you're going to level up additional jobs.
Yeah, which is great. So what I think I'm going to do is, since I'm doing these Hildebrand quests, I have my Mechanist is at 90, but my Archer is at 73. So I just got the idea. I'm going to put that earring on while I'm doing this quest to level up my Archer while I'm doing that. And then I'll probably switch back to my Mechanist when I go to do stuff unsynced, because like when I run into these dungeons like that I have to do, I'm like, I'm not grouping for this. I'm just going to run it unsynced and finish it real quick. So, so that's what I am looking forward to. Do you know what your pick of the week is? That's the real question, because I don't see anything on your list, son.
Yeah, I wanted to keep it fresh. I also talked about it earlier. I always feel bad because usually my pick of the week is something I talk about and what I've been up to. I need to get in the habit of leaving something out, but it's going to be We're Here to Help, the podcast.
I'm going to check that out. That sounds real cool. I love podcasts that actually have just normal everyday people on it alongside with like a celebrity or whoever is running the podcast. Like one of my favorite ones is, I don't know if you ever listened to it, but you'd know the comedian because you're into comedians a lot, but it's Beautiful Anonymous. I don't know if you've ever heard of that podcast, but
you told me about this, but I forget who hosts it.
So it's the guy that was in The Office. He's a comedian. He only guest starred a couple times. He was the guy that Angela tried to get to put a hit on Oscar.
Chris Gethard.
Yeah, he's the one that hosts that show, but like, and I feel like I'm still in your section, but anyways,
you did.
It's completely random. So he'll have somebody try to call in. It's completely random. The things that you can't do is they can't give. I don't even know if they give their name. They can't give their name. They can't give the location they live. And then they just talk about whatever it is they want to talk about. And then once 60 minutes, they can hang up at any point in time. But the only limit is once 60 minutes hits, it ends the call. It ends the call right away. And it's just such a cool concept for a show. And that's why I think the one you're talking about interests me, because it's like, these are real people with real problems and real lives. You know what I mean?
Most of the problems are kind of funny, but yeah.
Because it's more of a comedy podcast.
I don't think there's been like, at the moment, there hasn't been anything crazy serious. There was one girl that, there was one where the girl went to like an eclipse thing and then to a concert where the guy she met and then kind of was, into him and he was kind of giving her the runaround. Like that was more of a serious one, but they still made it hilarious. So.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to check that out. So I actually have two, which I normally don't do. One, and the biggest reason I had two is because I did what you did, and I talked about at the beginning of the show. Loot. When I first started the show, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about the show. Like I watched the trailer, and I was like, I don't really, because the whole premise is this husband and wife are married. They've been married for quite some time. They basically started a startup that took off, but then like 20 years in, she finds out that her husband is cheating on her. They get a divorce. He didn't sign a prenup. So she ends up becoming a billionaire. And then it's just about how she's trying to navigate. Like she finds out that she has like a nonprofit and is trying to do good things in the world. And she knows nothing about that because she's just been living this wealthy lifestyle and is not in touch with the reality. So it's just about her trying to rediscover herself and figuring out how to help and be kind of a normal person after you've been rich for so long. And it's just all the things that ensue with that. It's really good. It's kind of heartwarming. The cast is phenomenal. Just finished season 2. If you're looking for an easy watch, I mean, I think they're 30-minute episodes and only 10 episode seasons. So it's a real easy watch. And it's funny. It's got Maya Rudolph. It's got, God, who is the guy from Parks and Rec and also that other Apple TV show that we love?
Adam Scott.
Yeah, it's got Adam Scott. That's her husband. So you see him occasionally. And then there's a couple of other actors that I know, but I don't know their name. But they're just so funny. Like every episode is so funny. I did see that the guy that did Ted Lasso is either doing a new movie or a new show. I can't remember what it's called though.
A movie, with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah,
Bad Monkey.
Yeah, so maybe Bad Monkey, but I'm interested in that because I like anything he does, honestly.
Bill Lawrence is the best.
Yeah. And then the next thing that I want to talk about, I'm actually going to share my screen. I'm not going to share a video. I just want to share the website because it's called. Can you add that for me?
No.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do it.
I got it.
Okay. Anyways, so it's a web browser. I don't typically talk about technology or software very often, but when I find something that I really attach to and I really like, I like to share it. So this is free web browser called Arc. Oddly enough, the name of the company is called the Browser Company. That's literally the name of their company. But it's essentially a web browser that you can get on your iPhone. You can also get it on your Mac, and they just came out recently with the Windows version. The only thing you can't get a native version of the Apple one is the iPad right now. You can use the iPhone version, but it's not the best experience right now. But it's really a web browser to kind of simplify everything that you do. I don't know how you handle tabs, Justin, if you're one of those people that just has like tons and tons of tabs.
70 plus at all times.
Yeah, it's a simplified web browser that puts your content front and center. But then it has this little thing that call them spaces where you can actually group tabs together. And when you don't need them, they hide off the screen. You don't have a menu bar that goes across the top to distract you. It's just a very clean interface. Now, one of the cool features the mobile app has is it has the ability it can do a couple things, which one of the features is in this browser where you can simply type what it is you're looking for, and you can have it go out and do research for you. So it'll go and look at the most common and popular places to get news sites, and it will just present them to you. When you're using the web browser, say if you say, like, for instance, I used it to pull up that video of the Wolverine popcorn bucket. You can literally say, show me the Wolverine popcorn bucket. And then if you hold shift and hit enter instead of just enter, instead of it giving you search results, it will literally go fetch the thing that you specifically asked for and bring it to you. So instead of it pulling up links and say, okay, here's a bunch of links, it will literally just go grab the YouTube video and present it to you right away. So cutting out the middleman essentially. And then also just the cleanness of the interface. It's customizable, and I just really like it. And it also supports split view. So like, I know obviously on Mac, it probably doesn't make as much sense, but like, on a Mac, if you wanted to or on a Windows, if you want to have two web browsers side by side, you'd have to open two different windows and then just put them together. Well, in Arc, you actually have split view built in the web browser itself. So you can actually have multiple views in one window. So if you want to look at 4 websites at a time, it does all that just built into the web browser. So like as an example, like I'll share my entire screen now so you can see what it is I see. And you'll get to see us twice. This is gonna be weird. Probably. Let me add us in.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So now you get this loop effect. So obviously you and I would normally be on here. So like if I hit, let's see here. So if I hit this right here. Yeah. So as an example, like if I do split view, like I have our notes pulled up here, right? And this is all in the web browser. So I could have multiples like slide overviews. And if I wanted to add another one, but what I like about it is you'll notice how clean the interface is. Like these bars over here are actually from our streaming website. It's not from Arc. Now, if I want to go to the menu, if I just move my mouse over the left-hand side, it just slides out from the side. And then you can actually go in and look at your different bookmarks. You can group tabs together. And the thing is, your tabs will stay there. So if you come back 2 days later, the same tabs that you had pulled open are right there. So it's just a really cool, clean interface. I love like that it just puts your content front and center. And then obviously, if you want to add more or change the looks of it, you can absolutely do that. And then all your stuff syncs across all your devices. So it's just a really cool web browser. It's free. It's not freemium. And what's cool about it, built-in ad blocking, built-in like banner tracking. So if like you go to like a popular website that is ridden with ads, so like as an example, like, oh look, you can see I looked up Final Fantasy stuff, but like say for instance, like I said, Donald. So if I say Donald Trump news, oh I can't spell his name. Now, if I hit Shift Enter, now watch this blow up in my face because it's not a feature for Windows. So if I just hit, yeah, see, it's not available on Windows yet because it's in beta. But like for instance, like if I pull up a popular web browser or like a website, right? So let's go ahead and just pull up. It's the last thing I'll show you, and then I'll shut up. But if I pull this up, you'll notice like on the left-hand side, right? There, you just don't get. Of course, nothing's loading now because why would it? Because why would it work when I want it to? But it doesn't help. The thing I'm demoing you is the thing that also is in beta. Like for Mac and iPhone, it's full release, but this is beta. But yeah, you'll notice like when I'm looking at this is all articles. You don't see banners and ads and all that stuff, except obviously right there. So it's just a very clean. It's just a very clean interface. And then at the top, you can obviously add your different. Because it's also built off Chrome, so you can also add extensions and stuff. So if you want to add a dark mode or whatever, you can still do that. Yeah. And then if you want to add this to a split view, you just right click, add split view, and then I'd actually have 3 split views on this tab here. So just really cool browser. I know I went way more in depth in that than I needed to, but just anytime I find like a cool like piece of technology, like. Yeah, I know that's scary. I just like to show it off. So if you're looking for a new web browser, something simplified, something that's not freemiumware, that's actually free, I would definitely recommend checking out. I will tell you though that the Mac version and the iPhone version are the superior versions, and I'm not just saying that. I'm a lover of all technology, but Windows, out of all the versions of the Arc browser, is the newest, so it's still in beta essentially. But yeah, if you have an Apple device, super great on that device.
Very cool.
But outside
I tried it out some on my phone. I really liked it.
Yeah, because the one feature, I'm glad you mentioned that, because the one feature I'll say that I saw is that you have the ability to if you're reading an article, right? Say you're in a hurry and you're just trying to get like the bullet points. If you're reading an article, if you pinch your finger in, it will actually summarize that article for you and give you bullet points of what that article is, because it's like a combination of AI and just software. But they just added the feature that if you're using the mobile version, just I don't know if you saw this, but like it'll actually, if you lift your phone up and put it up to your ear like you're making a call, it will call AI and you can ask it a question essentially. That's the video that I
now on my Mac.
Oh, it's much better on the Mac. It's when you boot it up, it's such a good experience. You're just like, okay, I get it. And now I will tell you, it takes a minute to get used to, because where it is a simplified browser, it's like sometimes you may have to search for something you're looking for. But I've been using it for about a week and I love it. But yeah. All right. Well, that's everything, isn't it? Is there anything else we didn't cover? That was our picks of the week, right?
That's it, man.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and close this out. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the weekend, but I know, Justin, you're going to be on vacation next week. I'm going to try to record an episode with the guys from the testing room and try not to leave it this time. I think we're actually going to revisit the same conversation that Alex and I talked about how gaming has changed over time. We're going to talk about that, the Death to Couch co-op, and some other stuff. So I'll see if I can get that set up, and then we'll get that uploaded for the weekend or the week that Justin's gone for vacation. So, but yeah, that's all. Just please make sure that you share a podcast. Make sure you leave us a comment on whatever platform you listen to us the most on, and interact with us. We want to hear from you guys. So whether or not that's, commenting on YouTube or Instagram, Facebook, whatever it may be, we want to hear from you. We really are going to try to start being, I feel like we say it every week, but we want to really try to start being a little bit more consistent. We were talking before we started recording that you guys seem to really like the episode about the moms, so maybe we need to do more of those.
More mom stuff, more mom content.
More mom content. But without further ado, we will thank you. And until next time, we'll talk to you later. Peace.